This is the second and last narrated PowerPoint for session 3, and the intent of this very brief PowerPoint is to provide a very brief overview of Principle 5, and you will find in Failure is Not an Option the chapter on Principle 5, which is gaining active engagement from family and community. And this is an important concept because without active engagement from families and community, in fact, the vision, mission for the school will never be achieved. But it is also a principle that we struggle with. How do we meaningfully engage our families and community in children's learning? And as part of follow-up 1, you will be asked to develop an implementation plan that includes engaging family and community. So this is certainly a key concept for leaders of school organizations. And again, the chapter on Principle 5 will be found in Failure is Not an Option. Just to get you thinking about some things before you're reading, there are 2 quotes here to consider. While involving parents in school activities has an important social and community function, it is only the engagement of parents in learning in the home that is most likely to result in a positive difference to learning outcomes. And then the second quote from Michael Fullen. The research is abundantly clear. Nothing motivates a child more than when learning is valued by schools and families community working together in partnership. These forms of involvement do not happen by accident or even by invitation. They happen by explicit, strategic intervention. Many times we hear educators blaming parents and parents blaming educators for the lack of communication between home and school. And in the chapter on Principle 5, there are several examples of this, where teachers say, hey, I'm doing all of this, but the parent never does this at home and there's no follow through. Or parents saying, I've tried to explain to the teacher that this doesn't work, or I've tried to contact the teacher, but all he or she does is blame my child. And so what's important is to consider how to address both of these perspectives in a constructive manner so that school and family come together to support the child. Three of the recommendations for building a positive family and community relationship state that it should be based on mutual understanding, grounded in empathy rather, and recognition of shared interests. Meaningful involvement of family and community in a variety of school activities. And the key here is meaningful. And as Michael Fullen mentions, the idea of strategic planning, regular outreach and communication to family and community. It must be planned, it must be explicit, it must be strategic. In the implementation guidelines in the chapter, The authors refer to the PTA standards for family engagement, and you may want to take a look at those. They recommend challenges. They have challenges, and then they recommend solutions to those challenges and some ideas for getting started. So again, make sure that you look over these carefully, these ideas in Principle 5 carefully before you work on your implementation plan and before you do your reflection and follow-up 1. This concludes the second narrated PowerPoint for session 3.